Okay, I'm gonna cut straight to the chase here. This Ahoy project on Kickstarter, I think it's really, really sketchy. I've gone through their Kickstarter page and their trailer, and here's some of the most glaring issues. Prefacing this by saying that I'm not calling them a scam. Projects, they fail all the time, and it's not a crime to fail. But I personally think that there's too much going against Ahoy right now for me to back it, even if the project looks very promising. Alright, we run into our first problems here at 4 minutes and 45 seconds. I'm gonna play the clip right now.
Many different ways to play. For now, there are 4 key modes we plan to include. Firstly, Sea Trials, a continuation of our original alpha release. Sea Trials will allow you to continue to peacefully sail together with friends within one of these contained maps. This is a great space for some role-playing, practice sailing, or community-arranged races. Next is Beat to Quarters. Pick your ships, set sail, and engage the enemy head-on. Work as a team to overwhelm the enemy and bring victory home for your nation. Next, Naumachia, named for the staged naval battles of ancient Rome and later revitalized in 18th century pleasure culture. This mode pitches ship against ship, every captain for themselves, the last ship left afloat takes the spoils. And finally, Dominion. Each map is divided into key objectives. Work as a team to capture, hold, and defend these objectives in order to maintain dominion over the sea and secure victory.
So they plan on making 3 separate game modes in addition to the alpha on release. Now, how will they make that with only £80,000? I personally don't know. That is clearly not enough money. Now at around 4 minutes 20 seconds, it shows 2 ships trading fire with each other. The problem with this scene right here is that none of these ships, there's no proof that they're actually shooting at each other. It says this is in-game and that it's naval gun animation, but there's no proof that they're actually shooting. What I think it is that these are particle emitters behind the models that have a smoke texture overlaid over it with a muzzle flash. This doesn't show off any actual gameplay in my opinion. Though I'm not a developer, I think I know enough about this to know that this isn't real. We run to our next issue at around 6 minutes and 55 seconds. I'm gonna play this clip too.
Our ultimate vision of Ahoy is to build a persistent, multiplayer, open world.
So they want a persistent, open world game. The keyword here being persistent. You look at GTA Online, that game is limited to 30 players per server over an area around 48 square kilometers, and the servers still suck even a decade later. How are they going to deliver on the open world aspect of a naval game? All this is going to be persistent. That implies that a change a player makes to the multiplayer game world is going to stick around as a server ages. They want this to be an MMO essentially. Well, they didn't mention how many players would be in one of these MMO servers, so I don't really think they can deliver on any of this for under at least £20 million, I would assume. That's just me guessing, and I'm probably wrong, and it could be way higher than that. They did state that their ship-to-ship PvP modes will be around 64 players, but this leads back to the question of with what resources. Alright, at 10 minutes 15 seconds, we run into the roadmap, and here's my problem with that.
So let's talk about the roadmap. Depending on the success of this Kickstarter campaign, we are targeting a closed launch of our alpha release, Sea Trials, in Q1 2026. Over the course of that year, we plan to continually update and expand Sea Trials into the full arena release. Throughout this period, backers will gain access to key milestones, helping us test and refine every aspect of the game. We're targeting a release of Arena for Q4 2026 as a standalone experience through our own launcher and on both Steam and Epic Game Stores. We don't currently have a release plan for the open world at all. It's a vision, we're working towards it, and we hope to have it in the future, but we must complete Sea Trials and Arena first, ship them to you, make sure they're great, and then...
They plan on releasing their first alpha in less than a year from now. That's only around 9 months at most. According to Capstan Games themselves, they have around 13 developers, only 2 of which are full-time. So I ask again, how are they going to deliver a game of this graphical fidelity in less than a year, with only 2 members of the development team being full-time, with the resources they have on hand? The time frames don't add up, and the money does not add up either. I get that they have brought in more funding. They reached the £400,000 threshold a couple minutes ago, but as I said before, They plan on doing all of this with £80,000. While I'm sure they can manage their free-sailing non-PvP alpha, because Chronicles of Valeria, even they managed to do that, how will they get the rest of these milestones both on time and without running out of money? Are they seeking private investment? Because they outright admitted on their Kickstarter page that they aren't looking for money beyond the funding window. Whatever they get from this will somehow carry them over 2 years and eventually into the persistent open world. Assuming they can raise, let's say, £2 million in the next 20 days, then doing the math for the average developer salary in the UK gives you about enough money for 4 full-time employees for about a year. Now, some people are volunteering, but these volunteers probably have lives and need money beyond working on the game. I doubt most of them are wealthy enough to develop the game and have enough money to live off without pay. While I was writing this, as I said, they crossed $400,000. That means they are adding another map for their game modes. They keep piling more and more work on for themselves between the first alpha and early next year to the public release at the end of 2026. May I remind you that they don't even have a working guns and no proof of a working ship. Every depiction of it has been effectively almost been a static model. This was just a trailer for their Kickstarter. They have a dev blog that I might go over if enough people want me to, but this video won't get enough traction for me to bother. I'm calling it here and saying that this game won't get further than the alpha, but I'd love to be wrong, because I won't complain about a new pirate game. This Kickstarter reminds me of the old 3D Sid Meier's game from around 20 years ago, which I played a lot back then. Well, not back then, more like 10 years ago, but you get what I'm saying. I'd love a modern refresh like this, but I can't support this project in good faith. Now, the response to this campaign has also been pretty disheartening. 36,000 likes and 4,000 comments. Like, if you look through, Enigma, my guy, you play DCS too. You should know that companies can't really be trusted. I'm mostly messing with him. I hold a lot of respect for him as a DCS player. I know I can't change minds and only inform that this is a sketchy project, but I'm going to do just that. I'll remain hopeful that this will be the one that succeeds though, and will gladly buy a copy if and when this is finished to an acceptable degree. That's all for now.